Hello and welcome to CaribDirect's news review of 2020. We're going to highlight 5 Caribbean stories from the year. The COVID-19 pandemic took most of the focus at the beginning of the year and will continue into 2021. But here are some other stories to remember. The Black Lives Matter movement, or BLM, returned to the forefront of public attention after the killing of George Floyd on May 25th in Minneapolis. George Floyd was a 46-year-old African-American man killed during an arrest when Derek Chauvin, a police officer, kneeled on his neck for a staggering 8 minutes. By May 26th, protests had already begun in the area. On the 3rd of June, the New York Times reported that an estimated 15 to 26 million people in the United States had participated in the protests. As reported by our resident columnist, Dixon Igwe, the current turmoil in the West is simply a continuation of a historical narrative that started in the 1400s. The sentiment behind the BLM is simply part of the Black experience, one that is experienced by Caribbeans every day. In fact, many Caribbeans joined the protest against racism in solidarity. Wesley Notres, founder of the Haitian Lives Matter movement, publicly condemned the officers who killed George Floyd and argued for them to be charged with first-degree murder. Many Jamaican entertainers also expressed their solidarity on social media.
All these years, when the police have been killing these innocent black people, let's not forget Sandra Bland. It's not only black men, black people, and people have been in the streets protesting. No justice, no peace, no justice, no peace. Una never hear. Y'all didn't hear those words? That's what it meant. No justice, no peace.
A lot of depressing statistics have been circulating since BLM gained momentum. In the United Kingdom, only 10% of apprenticeships are from Black, Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds, even though 25% of applicants are Black, Asian and minority ethnic. In the United States, about 1 in every 1,000 black men can be expected to be killed by police. While it is easy to get fixated with these, I prefer to echo Dixon Igwe and see BLM as a driver of cultural change, and this cultural change is realized in the positive social changes that have occurred during 2020. In June 9, London Mayor Sadiq Khan launched a diversity commission to investigate which statues should be kept and which ones should be removed due to their ties with slavery. In the recent American election, Kamala Harris was elected as vice president, making her the first female vice president and the first African American vice president. The changes enacted since the Black Lives Matter movement regained public attention in 2020 are far-reaching and constant. On June 22nd, we celebrated another Windrush Day. Introduced in 2018 by Patrick Vernon, Windrush Day refers to the day that the ship HMT Empire arrived at Tilbury Docks in 1948. The ship carried Afro-Caribbean migrants to help fill jobs in the UK. While it is a big day for the Caribbean community, it is arguable to what extent the community can celebrate when the UK government are still carrying out reparations for the damage caused by the 2018 Windrush scandal. In her historical review, it was found that at least 83 individuals who had arrived before 1973 had been removed from the UK. These are people whose families and livelihoods are built in Britain and were simply made to leave. As recent as September, David Lammy urged those affected by the Windrush scandal to take full advantage of the Windrush compensation scheme.
So if anybody knows someone who was detained, deported, denied access to healthcare, insurance, benefits, please apply online.
There has also been renewed media interest in the Windrush scandal and the Caribbean community in general. In June, Sitting in Limbo, a drama that focused on the deportation of Anthony Bryan, was televised on BBC One. Similarly, in November, Small Axe premiered, an anthology film series about the lives of West Indian immigrants in London. As well as giving the community the representation it deserves, things like this are reminders that the future of the Caribbean community can only get brighter. This year has seen a substantial rise and drive in caring for our environment, pulling together as a community to create a better world. In Trinidad and Tobago, we saw a large oil tanker become unbalanced, leading to a potential capsizing and large oil spill that happened in October. The tanker, believed to be carrying 1.3 million barrels of oil, was abandoned by a Venezuelan oil company following a financial dispute. A spill of this size would have severely affected the livelihoods of the 50,000 Trinidadian fishermen, while damaging surrounding wildlife for years to come. Fortunately, Friends of the Sea, an organisation tasked with promoting sustainable fishing, and the local community of fishermen raised awareness to the leaning tanker. Officials have since visited the site and have reported it is now stable and no threat to the surrounding environment. In November, we saw Hurricane Eta spinning across the Caribbean coast, triggering flash flooding, devastating communities, and causing landslides in Guatemala and Nicaragua. It is estimated 50,000 people were without power and a further 20,000 residents were rehomed to shelters. Over 280 roads were damaged in the heavy rain, cutting communities off and damaging surrounding agriculture and infrastructure. The landslide killed at least 50 people, with half of those thought to have been in a single town where a hillside collapse buried 20 houses underneath the mud. A lack of planning legislations and an aging infrastructure throughout the island are thought to be blamed for the damage on the Caribbean. There is a rising need for the government to enforce a better disaster risk and reduction policy to protect the homes, lives and farmland of the local people. Managing Director of Environmental Solutions Limited, Eleanor Jones, states, "We need to take charge of our vulnerability. It is real and it is going to get worse, and it serves very little purpose to just simply be talking about these issues ad nauseum." As we continue the fight against COVID-19, professional sport has been put on hold and recreational sport has become a common pastime. While public sport facilities closed, we saw a rise in working out at home. Between January and March in the United States, for example, sales of fitness equipment increased by 55%. But does this at-home experience really harness the true value and essence that sport provides? Mrs. Rhonda Clark Godden, a professor at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, argues that together, academia and sport can enforce a major change in Caribbean society. Sport instills many important values in the Caribbean youth of today: teamwork, sportsmanship, and even entrepreneurship. By educating younger people on how sport can not only enrich the body and the mind, but also relationships and communities, by completely transforming how the new generation think and behave. Viewing sport in this way could not come sooner. At COVID's peak, 1.6 billion students were out of school and stopped from attending initiatives that prevent youth violence. As Godden puts it herself, nothing is more powerful than a changed mind, and education is the catalyst that provides the dormant, unchallenged soul with limitless possibilities. 2020 saw aptly named triple jumper Dominica Lafont from the island of Dominica in her country's first ever Commonwealth medal, following on later in the year with a national record at the Olympic qualifications, placing joint 5th in the world indoor list for the Olympics with a record-breaking 14.33 meters. Scouted at only 16 years old, Lafont also competed in the 2018 Rio Olympics but fell short due to injury. Jamaican-born Elaine Thompson-Herah, well known for her 100-metre and 200-metre sprints, has also risen to greatness in 2020. Firstly at Wanda Diamond League in September, where she achieved a world-dominating 10.85, then a week later achieving a 10.87 in Doha in the World Athletics Championships. In both of these races, her competitors were a whopping 0.27 and 0.34 seconds behind. This year has led to Thompson achieving 4 of the world's 6 fastest 100-metre times worldwide. With world-leading times and an unbeaten record in 7 races, Thompson posed as a really strong competitor to take home the title of World Athletics 2020 Female Athlete of the Year. Unfortunately, at the awards, she was pipped at the post by Yulimar Rojas of Venezuela, another triple jumper in the world of athletics. This has been CaribDirect News Review of 2020. Visit CaribDirect.com daily for all your Caribbean news. Wishing you all a productive, peaceful and safe 2021. Goodbye.